the time how much of an impact that had on our success. It took number two, it took Mother Nature to finally bring our season to an end. You really can't play soccer in a lake. And number one, since that time, we have all gone our separate ways, building families and careers. None of us became professional soccer players, but the life's lessons we learned that year have served us well. Our final season lasted only a few months, but the memories will last a lifetime. On behalf of everyone on the team, the players, the managers, the coaches, thank you again for this honor and recognition of our accomplishments.
Now let me ask the team members to come forward as I call their name. Our goalie, Abe Snyder, backs, Larry Miller, Doug Lowry, Steve Risser's already up here. The midfielders, Roger Brubaker, who's here, and John Shedron. Forwards, Andy Males and Dave Williams. The players who couldn't be here tonight were John Wilson, Dave Hoster, Ken Arnold, who's represented by his dad, who ran our youth program, Joe Harriger, represented by many family members, Gary Eshelman, represented by his mom and dad, Paul Becker, our exchange student, Vincenzo Petrosino, that we called Petro because I couldn't say it all, who until Sunday night was planning on being here, and our beloved teammate, the late Andy Hoffman, represented tonight by his sister Lisa and his mother Hazel. What a tribute it is to have you join us. I wish I had a special soccer memory about Andy that I could share, but I really do not. He was a tall, handsome basketball player who for some reason appeared each fall in a soccer uniform. He wasn't a starter, but he got into every game and was a wonderful teammate. And the girls loved him. But one day he got hurt. He was going for a ball and he missed it. Now, it was a complete miss. I don't think he ever touched even part of the ball, but he kicked so hard that he hyperextended his leg and went down. The girls were heartbroken. Soon he was surrounded by our female managers, and the highlight of their day was helping Andy Hoffman off the field. Of course, the next day he was fine. Other special things. No two teams are completely alike. One of my memories that made them special. On our bus on the way back from one of our preseason games, I heard a little ditty, a little song being sung. Now, I have mixed thoughts about singing on the bus. My experience while growing up was that the words can get pretty raunchy pretty quickly. But I listened very carefully, and the tune went something like this. Now, I have to apologize. My singing is bad. But the tune was something like do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, do-do-do-do-do. Now, I apologize again. My wife won't let me sing in church. But the idea is that what I'm trying to tell you, the first, second, and fourth lines were the same, and the third line was different. Now, I asked the team last night, does anybody remember the words? And nobody did, although Roger made a guess. He said, well, it sounds a little bit like a Mennonite hymn. Well, it was not a Mennonite hymn, but wait till I tell you what the words were. The words were, go to Bible school, go to Bible school, every evening of the week, go to Bible school. Now, let me ask the coaches here, if your team sang those words, wouldn't you think they were unique? That little song, however, was the basis for some other things that we learned. It was probably the basis for SOC-CER, Soccer, Soccer, Henfield Soccer, which became our battle cry. And perhaps one other song which I don't think you're going to be lucky enough to hear. Just a little recap of soccer history here at Hempfield as I know. The school dropped the sport in 1957 and started football. Obie, Bruce Gerlach, and Fred Rudy were on the last soccer team and the first football team. In '67, 10 years later, we started soccer again and played a JV schedule and actually won our first game. We had some pretty good players in those early 70s. Steve Beck, who's a swim coach here today. John Lowry, who's kind enough to show up tonight. Keith Eshelman come to mind as players. And, of course, our buddy Tom Markow. We just didn't have enough of them at one time. But we had a youth program under the direction of Lee Arnold. And with the help of Walter Quay, that youth program quickly became the envy of the county. The other coaches then were John Harnish, John Denlinger, Dave Dumar, and my friend Jim Grant, the greatest assistant coach ever. And by 1975, we were ready to make some noise. By the end of that soccer season, the team had won 20 games, lost just 2, and tied 1. They broke every record. 6 starters were named All-County. Roger Brubaker and Joe Harriger were subsequently named All-State. And at Hempfield, if you read my pen, soccer was sexy. But the thing that I remember most was the end of the season fall sports assembly. It was the first program in the new gym. And even though it was tight, they could fit all 4 grades into the bleachers. They customarily introduced the most successful team last. When Mr. McGehee said it was now time to introduce the 1975 soccer team, the entire student body rose and cheered for what seemed like an eternity. After the presentations were completed, I made one of the craziest decisions and requests of my life. I thanked the students for their phenomenal support, told them that as a tribute to them for all their support, we were going to close the program with the team singing a fight song that I had taught them during the season, even though they had never sung it anywhere except on the bus. Then I turned and looked at the team. Sheer, absolute panic on every face. I said, look, we'll get in a circle around the microphone and no one will see your face. And they said, okay. So we sang, and the student body rose again to their feet and gave them a second standing ovation. And if I live to be 100, never will I forget how I felt that day and the pride I had that day and still have today for one of Hempfield's greatest teams ever. And when my time on earth has run its course, I hope someone will be kind enough to say one of the mountaintop experiences in Al's life was the 1975 soccer team. Thank you.